control mechanism.
Yeah, but that's not a positive thing we should be encouraging. We should be encouraging, you know.
We should be encouraging.
It wasn't. It's
equal
usually
rights for
not
women.
murder. Yeah, it's usually just like insulted somebody or had an affair or something that wouldn't be considered a big deal.
Well,
nowadays.
the control of women by men for the last 3,000 years. I have a friend who's a scholar and points out that for the 30,000 years before that, we had systems where it was matriarchal. And it's not that women controlled men, but rather that women made it so that men and women had voice in what was going on. And over the last 3,000 years, we've had a world of violence where the patriarchal cultures have dominated and beaten down and put women into a subjugated status.
Why is that? And what caused that?
Capitalism and agriculture.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that's good.
capitalism definitely didn't do that because capitalism
And agriculture.
Capitalism didn't do that because capitalism is a process of private ownership of production where the private owners who have different pieces of that production get a piece of the production. In short, it's shareholders. So shareholder capitalism.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But
Agriculture and
markets-
capitalism.
Markets, on the
Once
other
you
hand,
start-
Agriculture is not involved. Like we've had agriculture for so much longer
right,
than we've had these issues.
right. We've had
Yeah, it's
No.
not
capitalism since the 1600s.
We've
had
no, we just coined the word at 1600s.
no. We did not have
I
a system of
agree with
secondary
Turf,
markets
so-
or shares
We just
until the
coined the word the
1600s.
capitalism. at
Capitalism is
1960s.
natural. It
No,
existed
cap-
before the
no, again,
1600s.
Again,
And-
the retrojection
coined
of
the-
capitalism as all markets is obscene. We have had the agora or exchange of goods for a very long time, but what we haven't had is slicing up the private means of production so that you can trade shares of them because you're an owner of that company on paper. No, that is a government boondoggle, an invention of the modern nation state, something we didn't have
Capitalism
again
exists
until
in
the
nature.
1600s. Capitalism is not the same thing as markets or competition.
I don't believe you're both operating from the
free
same
trade.
definition of
Those are
That's
capitalism.
right.
separate.
Spaz keeps
Yeah,
saying,
or
I
free
keep
trade.
defining capitalism. He keeps saying something obviously entirely different about his definition. He's equivocating.
Okay.
So,
But I was. It's probably. I mean, I'm just gonna say it's probably Abrahamic religions that have caused a lot of the strife against women.
go.
Maybe.
there's a long
That's a guess.
anthropological history.
A form of control mechanism.
Yeah, there's a long anthropological history of city-states forming, and now you're claiming, it's this agriculture, but the control of agriculture from within the cities actually created spaces of liberation after the men started subjugating women on the farms. And that's where the subjugation of women and property comes from. But the idea of property, that certainly is a basis because you start treating women as property in a system and you start valuing property of people in a patriarchal system. That's where you start seeing women being subjugated. And cities were a place where women were free, or relatively more free. There were economic opportunities. And then what would happen time and again, and you see this in the Abrahamic religions, God says the cities are evil and sinful. He's going to destroy them because they're so evil. And why are they so evil? Because women are not doing what they're told. And so what's he going to do? He's going to raise up some armies from the rural areas to come kill all the evil people inside the cities. That's it. That's the story of the minor prophets throughout the Old Testament, over and over again. And it's an anthropological story. We see cities build up. Wealth is there. The people in the rural areas don't like that their property, their women, are going to the cities where they're free. So they come to kill the people inside the cities because they would like their property back. Thank you very much, please. And then they write a book about how God told them.
Yep.
So I wouldn't blame it on God. I would say they blamed.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess with the internet, that should be making this less likely to happen, right? Right?
Well, we can see it today. We can see it today. Look at Afghanistan, right? There was a city that we built up, and women were free, and they were able to go get education, but still the population, 90+%, are farmers.
Oh.
That nation never had a chance. The farmers were always going to come back and kill all the people in the city.
Right.
Anyway, New Zealand's the best nation on
Yeah, you got that wrong right away.
earth. Because it's not Scotland. Well, some people don't like
It's Scotland.
rain that in dark all the time for half the year.
No such thing as bad weather, mate. Just wrong clothes.
No, I mean I'm also in a place where it's rainy, dark 9 months out of the year. I love it, but some people don't.
I think Scotland was voted, maybe wrong about this recently. Friendliest.
Are the
Don't believe
Scots?
that.
Oh, that's awesome,
The
man.
Scottish people are pretty damn friendly, the ones I met in Dublin.
Oh, this one person was being really rude to my daughter, and she didn't get that it was a. We're all just laughing at.
That's not.
No, they were perfectly Scottish because he was actually being very nice to
okay.
her, but she just like wasn't taking the. Well, like she talks about it
I
now
remember
and she
I read it.
loves it.
I'll look it up.
And then the kids had Iron Brewer.
we did. We
Aaron Burr?
Iron Brewer. It's a orange soda that tastes
Yeah, I
like
know it's just
creamsicles.
so-
Wait, sorry, I'm trying to read Ionic
actually not orange,
Dreams'
but
argument,
okay.
and his argument is somehow that when women have the rights over their own bodies, it becomes a culture that cuts your baby's penis.
I
Okay,
Yeah, that's the opposite.
Okay.
So
Because
that's the
circumcision
opposite.
is part of the Abrahamic religion that we just established is fundamentally patriarchal. Although it wasn't always.
what
But
I've been
whether
trying to
men
argue
are in
back and forth with
control
him,
of
so what
women
he's
or
trying to
women are in
argue-
control of women, it's still capitalism.
Yeah,
what
this
he's
is-
trying to
you're
argue
drunk
is the
and it's
reason
not capitalism. Yes.
the most that the majority of people do it because it's my body, my choice, so they mutilate the baby's penis. I'm like, that's
No.
not
That's not the
No.
underlying logic.
that's that's not the underlying logic, and the reason most people do that is because of religious practice.
No.
and
No, I'll tell you why people
I
get
think it's hygiene.
No, they get it because they
clean
think
down
it's a better choice. No one's out there doing something they think is going to harm their child. They think that they're doing the thing that is going to keep their child the safest and healthy.
It's the fourth
Facts.
friendliest country in the world. Just looked it up.
Okay, but is it the
For
fourth
now,
most circumcised country?
God no.
that'd be Israel, I think.
Start fiddling with a Scotsman's willy, and you'll be picking up.
Oh,
your
is it
teeth.
called Willie? Call it a Willie over there?
Yeah.
Then that
Yeah.
one
Is it
Willie
Willie?
Oh, it
guy,
can be.
like what's that children's character named Willie?
Willy
Free
Wonka.
we had a president
No.
named Dick.
We did have a president. Wait, no, we did not.
Dick Nixon.
It's Richard Nixon. Dick
Tricky
is
Dick.
just
Tricky dick.
yeah.
Yep. Now Dick Cheney was actually named Dick, I think.
He wasn't president though.
It kind of was.
It's a bad shot, that's for sure. Ireland is apparently the top 10 in the top 10 friendliest. Slovenia, Romania, Scotland, then Ireland again. Iceland. Iceland's fifth. I wonder where America is on that.
Well, it depends on where you go in America, but there is a little song about how
Well, it's
this
only
is
Europe.
America, and that should orient you pretty well. It's by the
No,
Childish
Childish
Gambino.
Gambino.
Too. Yeah, that's good. Good song.
That's a good orientation for anyone who would like to visit America.
I'd watch the music.
So Jazz, yeah. Also, as you're saying, there's religious tradition. There's also family tradition that's not embedded in religion per se. And then there's social norms of the people around you. And all of those influence your thinking on. I think it's pretty clear that circumcision's a bad idea. But that's not something that I can get across to everybody. And if you have a doctor that's telling you, no, it's a good idea, because doctors disagree with each other on the topic, then you're probably just going to do what the doctor says because that's better for your child.
I did not receive pressure one way or the other.
Well, you were a baby at the time, so.
No, for my baby.
I mean, if I ever have a boy, I want his penis to look like my penis because then it'll make me jealous. That's my logic.
That's probably
Yeah,
not true.
I don't follow that
I
logic.
think it's sarcasm. Yeah.
Oh, I
Really
got
is.
it. Andy, are you trying to say something?
Kind of undercutting his remark.
Undercut.
Good one.
That was a good one, Andy. That was a good one.
It's saying it's not fair to say my what you think. Oh, I see. Onic. You know what else? You do cut your baby. You cut your baby's umbilical cord, don't you?
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you just leave it there? You tie it off? You cut that thing? Is it hypocritical to do that? Cut your baby's hair?
That's fun.
Baby never has to have her hair cut either.
Earrings.
Yeah. Oh, babies get earrings, which I'm even more
Nails.
disturbed by.
Yeah.
We
That's
we
weird.
declaw our babies without asking them.
You should leave their warts.
I
alone.
don't do
Quick
that.
question. Have we gotten into baby tattooing or anything like that?
I mean,
I don't know if that's a thing.
it is not.
I've asked my toddler
It
if he
is
wants
not.
tattoos.
It is not in every state. It's illegal to get a
I'm
tattoo
not
before 18. I think.
sure.
But I would-
Good deal.
I believe that, and I'm not sure about this, but there is a culture that do tattoo their babies for identification in case they're kidnapped or
Oh,
something like that.
twins.
That was a Mengele, and it was for a very short period
Was
of
it?
time in Germany.
Right, okay. I know I'd heard it somewhere. I just couldn't place where I'd heard it.
All right, let's.
Yeah, it's probably
Yeah,
best not
you
to
should
take
ask
advice off the
Perplexity.
Mengele.
That's right.
Most tattoo parlors will not do it, but if you're a tattoo artist yourself, I believe it's legal to do it on your own
I'd say
kid.
every parlor wouldn't be against the law, but
Is it? If it's your own kid?
yes,
Yeah, yeah. I'm
even with
pretty sure
parental
it's-
consent, you have to be a
There's some
certain age.
states. I think there's some
Really?
states with
Tattooing
16 and
babies.
parental consent. You can do it.
Yes,
Yeah,
What
16
about-
isn't
but
that
not
bad.
4 or 5.
No, yeah, no, that's crazy.
Like
you
that.
sure about that?
Where I am, it's
Yeah, you got to
16
be
for
18.
parental consent.
United States minors
Mm.
cannot be tattooed. In European countries,
Well, what if it's
people
a
must be at
cultural
least
thing?
18. Okay, I'm just trying to finish a sentence.
Do
What you're
like
saying.
Hawaiians
Say that
and
again,
people
Andy.
like that wait till they're
It is not.
18?
Shh. Say that again, Andy.
It is not. Excuse me. It is not safe to tattoo babies because their skin is delicate and they are still growing. In the United States, minors cannot be tattooed. In European countries, people must be at least 18 or older to get a tattoo, or they must have written consent from a guardian.
Is it safe to circumcise a baby? Or should we wait till they're 18?
It's actually safer to circumcise a baby than it is to circumcise an 18-year-old.
There's been babies that have died.
Okay,
from
fucking hell,
circumcision.
do you want to listen to the fucking
shut
whole
up.
answer?
Can you say that
Because
again, Andy?
babies have more of the clotting factor, certainly after they're born. Factor H, hemoglobin H, I think it is.
Yeah, vitamin K.
They have
as well.
more of that. Yeah, something like that. I can't remember the letters. So it's actually safer because it will heal quicker.
Well, at the same time,
And
they
clot.
won't remember it because their brains aren't.
And that
aren't done
is
developing.
also true. Yeah.
I do want to point out to Ionic that, like, fathers actually have a voice in whether the baby gets circumcised as well. I think he's throwing a lot of weight in what a mother decides for the baby, and it's like,
I
no, once
can't-
it's out of her, I think it's 50-50.
I don't even think it's 50-50. I can't imagine there are many relationships where the mother's like, the baby should be circumcised, and the father's like, no, and she insists. And
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
see that
no,
happening.
I think I would, yeah, I would go like, you have a penis, you know what's up, and give that
Tends to be. That's just my thinking.
yeah.
And the answer is no. That doesn't actually mean you know what's up, but
I mean, it's
hope
you
you
know,
know
give a
what's
little
up.
benefit of the doubt sometimes when it comes to penis having, I guess.
yeah. So Anik wants to say that they don't like circumcision, and I'm going to go with it. That sounds great. Be against circumcision. Tell people what you know about circumcision and how you can get circumcised as an adult, and how, well, the baby remember it and is at lower likelihood of complication than an adult. At least if you do it only for the adults that need it, you'll have many fewer complications because only a tiny number of adults actually need it.
Mine's short enough already. I don't need bits taken off it. Little sexual humor.
That it was. Yeah, I'm proud of you.
Humor. No, it's
A little.
Humor. That's called observational humor. Yeah.
I'm not showing you anything. I'm just saying that as well.
Go. So we had a hot topic. All right. Now, Spaz, you can argue your dumb arguments about.
Don't draw. That's not nice. Don't like drawing.
Yeah, Spaz.
Why
So
did you
when
get
you
it?
say capitalism, what are you thinking? That way we.
Just like the use and control of natural resources.
The use. So people were capitalist before they were human.
Not just people, like animals.
Animals are
plants.
capitalist. Capitalism just means doing things with natural resources.
Basically.
Okay. And so communism means not doing things with natural resources?
No, it does stuff with natural resources.
Oh, okay. So communism's also capitalist.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm glad we agree. By your definition, communism is capitalist.
I think everything is capitalist.
Yeah,
Well,
it's just like a
the sun
different way
itself
of exploiting
is
it.
turning hydrogen into helium, so it's also capitalist.
It's a capitalist.
Yeah. So
Modern capitalism emerged in the early 19th century in Western Europe and European offshoots of the Americas and Oceania, recognizing the unparalleled dynamism of the new socio-economic system. Marx and Engels predicted in 1848 that capitalism would spread to the entire world by the end of the 20th century. Got that one right. The prediction was confirmed. Yeah, has indeed become global, but only after a tortuous and violent course of institutional change in many parts of the world. This paper, which is by Jeffrey D. Sachs of Harvard University, explains the birth of capitalism. So there's not always been capitalism.
No, and there haven't always been a standing occupying army in our cities ready to beat us down in the name of the ruling economic elite. It wasn't until the 1850s, for example, that New York had a permanent police force. Permanent police force is something that's very modern as well. And now it's the largest line item of most cities, is sure that there are people to side the head if you don't do what the ruling elite tell you about where you can drink things and what your house can look like.
What your house can look like.
Oh, yeah.
Like an HOA.
Zoning laws.
Yeah.
Zoning laws. That's right.
HOAs are
Oh,
really bad
right,
in
yeah.
America.
Planning permission, we call that. Yeah.
Yeah, the Planning
I don't
Permission
have an
Commission.
HOA. Haha.
Yeah, there needs to be somebody with a
Ho-ho.
stick in their hand and a gun on their hip to keep you from imagining a house that's any different than your neighbor's.
Oh, I don't think we're as strict as that. I mean, it just has to be safety and.
Here, it's
I don't know.
literally the color of white you paint your house has
Yeah, we
to
don't have
match
that.
everyone else's house usually.
Yeah,
Or
no.
like making sure your grass isn't above a certain inch, like 3 inches or something like that.
Yeah, I
They
purchased
usually mow it for you.
I purchased
and
my
charge you.
house for
Stick up
because
the
it was
butt,
a
people.
neighborhood that looked nice and it didn't have an HOA, which meant that people just
A
cared
lovely
about their
neighborhood.
homes.
So you can put a
Mhm.
pink flamingo out.
I can put a pink
Nice.
flamingo out. Yep.
Mm.
I decided I want my lawn to look like it's natural to the environment. So I got rid of the grass, and you know what the natural environment looks like. It is. There's just moss out there, and yeah, it's great. Summer,
Oh.
there's like clovers.
So true.
Yeah.
Little bees
To
flying. around.
finally come to Ionic's argument that he was trying to make for over, I don't know, the last 10 minutes. He says, I deem people who want an abortion incapable of making that choice. That's what he was trying to.
Of course, that's what I said he was trying to do from the beginning. Right?
Yeah, that's. I kept
no.
trying to ask it out of him, and
Yeah.
but he's like, no, it's circumcision.
Okay, fine. Yeah, look, it doesn't matter because the question isn't, is it a person that you get to make a decision over when it comes to the fetus? The question is the woman a person who gets to make a decision as to whether or not her body is used as a life raft for another being that may or may not be a person?
Exactly.
So it's not about your right to have a decision over what you do with the fetus. In fact, every state has protections for fetuses that are viable outside the womb. No, it's about whether or not the woman herself has a right to protect herself from a fetus that's trying to kill her if she continues to donate part of her body to
Is that
it.
a parasite?
I mean, fetuses often start to kill their host. Yeah.
There's a guy in Big Screen who thinks that it is immoral and cruel to have a baby without its permission.
Andy.
Don't ask me about the logic of it.
Andy. Someone's wrong on the internet. We've got to do
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, he's absolutely a nutcase.
So this
I
is
mean,
kind of
you know,
sick, right? I've heard this sort of quite evil, I think, thing. Hi, Max. People telling abused children or children that have gone through horrible experiences, you chose to be born, so you knew what you were going to go through.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, geez.
absolutely disgusting. It's these spiritual guru people will say it all the time to help people like feel better. Oh, you chose to go through that. No, you didn't. You didn't exist before you were born, and then when you were born, all the world around you happened at you. You didn't choose anything.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a good question.
Another case of
When
picking
does-
teeth off of the floor.
When does somebody begin to make choices?
Juris,
That's the
they begin
the
to make
sapiens
choices once they
question?
become aware of the false consciousness that capitalism has instilled into them.
Capitalism.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dang it. Okay.
Yeah, so it's called false consciousness, Marx's idea. It is the reason that the working class will work to defend the ownership class, even though it's against the overall betterment of people. So there you go. That's what Marx has to say about when you become sentient, when you become aware of your own exploitation.
So most
Damn.
people never become sentient.
According to a Marxist
I don't
theory,
understand.
yes.
I don't.
Interesting.
I get called a Marxist way too much. I don't understand why I don't agree with that.
Well, this is the point, Juris. There's many different ways to ask
Uh-huh.
when do you become capable of making decisions. I think the truth is we're asking within what bounds. You can't
Uh-huh.
make some decisions right now. You know you can't make those decisions. Some of them are learned helplessness. Some of them you really can't. But just narrow and narrow in. So when we ask about free will, we're asking about free will within an area of play. I would like to maximize. I think that instead of people hitting you over the head for having the wrong shade of porch you should probably be able to imagine a colorful house. All sorts of colors. Makes you happy. No?
One where they allow you to have pet bunnies on the patio.
For example, if you want pet bunnies, or a patio, if you don't want a patio, if you want 2 patios, I say go for it.
I want 2 patios.
What if you're hurting everyone else's property value?
Yeah, that's the point. You should hurt everyone else's property value because it maximizes the ability to build houses. If you could
Why
just
is there
build whatever
property
kind of
value?
house you wanted wherever it was, you would have apartments next to big houses and people would be able to live where they wanted to. Very quickly, the population density would increase and we would be able to go to mass transit. Without laws mandating that there's parking, people actually use the bus. And when people use the bus, they say, I wish I had a train. And then they have a train they can use. Instead of, let's make sure there's enough space for all the roads and all the parking because everyone needs to own.
I want a house on a train.
It would help our homeless problem a lot.
Yeah.
If we started
Yeah.
lowering the value of houses.
At the very bottom of the pyramid, the reason people are houseless is because they don't have houses. And if we made more houses,
would've
people
thought?
wouldn't be houseless or living in their cars or marginally housed. They'd just be able to go and say, oh, people need to work there? Well, we'll build an apartment here. Yeah, people liked houses, but now people need to live there, so we'll build an apartment, knock down the house. Now there's an apartment next to a house. No big deal. Eventually, the neighborhood changed. That would be a market, Spaz. What we have now is
Why
government
don't we just
control.
send them to abandoned ones? Like there's like villas in Italy and stuff.
Are you saying take
That's a
people
long
from
commute,
America and put them in Italy?
That's a long
The,
commute.
the
I mean,
Italians
I know
did
the
have this
answer to
idea
my own
about putting people.
question. It's because they like where they're at. They have access to heroin and leftover sandwiches where they're at right now.
What the-
Whereas if they went to a
This
countryside,
is just
they'd have to own a car to
factually
get to the
incorrect.
store.
Okay,
you
so
think people could
somebody's
just
been doing
move to
psychedelics.
another
Is he a
country?
little
I
just like
prefer
that?
crack
Because
cocaine sandwiches myself.
okay, so
I mean,
let's.
It gets a little bit of gritty though.
That's really way out there.
That is really way out there, Kat. So here's the deal: the vast majority of people who are homeless, there's one great predictor: the loss of their social network. Lose your social network because hopefully anyone in here, if you lost your job and you became a drug addict and you had a mental problem, you still wouldn't be homeless because you have a social network of people who care about you, will support you, help you need. On the other hand, when you lose that social network, now you can end up. Now, what is the number one psychological predictor? It's not being schizophrenic. It's not being an addict. Having a low IQ. I know a lot of you have heard Mr. Calm come in here and talk to you. It's my mentally disabled brother. And he yells at himself. He talks to himself. He walks out my front door in my bougie neighborhood yelling at himself at 3 a.m. I like to think...
Whoa.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
You okay?
uh-oh.
No.
Hopefully
And sometimes
Gonna
he's
drop.
didn't die.